Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. This week we have a very exciting video and I haven't done this for a while, so I'm very excited to get started. So I've kind of been thinking I need to stop calling it like a week of reading certain things because it's never a week. It always ends up being about 2 weeks. Let's just call it reading library books. Because it's definitely not going to be a week. I don't know who I'm kidding. I don't read 3 books in a week very often. I got these at the library. You might have seen it in a previous vlog. If you haven't, I'll pop the vlog over here and also in the description. I got 3 books out of the library. They were closing that day, so I couldn't get any more. I just grabbed 3 very quickly because he gave me 5 minutes. Grab these and we're gonna read these because they're due back in, I think, 7 days or maybe... What's the date today? The 6th. Okay, so it is due in 9 days. So we have 9 days to read this. Very excited. Let me show you what I got. Just picking up off the pile, no particular order. This is 7 Days in June by Tia Williams. I think this is a Black author, and one of my prompts in my book journal actually is read a book by a Black author. So I thought this would fall in line. I've also heard really good things about it. All the books I got out of the library this time around have 4 and above stars. So that's really good and I'm hopefully going to enjoy it. From what I surmise about this book is that it is a romance-ish book, and it's about 2 authors who meet at a literary event, and they are actually like kind of ex-lovers, but now they're rivals, and then they get back together, something along those lines. So I'm very excited. I don't particularly love romance, like I said. I still am excited just to try it out. It's about 300 and something pages, 325 pages, so it shouldn't theoretically take too long, but very excited for this. Then we have Confess by Colleen Hoover. I haven't even heard much about this. It again has a 4 or above rating on Goodreads, so very excited for this. I know that Colleen Hoover's books can be really addicting. Like, the only one I didn't like was It Starts With Us. Like, that was just, it was an unnecessary sequel. I usually really like her books, even though I don't like what she stands for and what she does. I still really enjoy her books. They're like crack. I am excited to get into this. This also is like a type of romance because you know she always writes romance too. I don't know what this is about at all. Let's just leave it at that. And lastly, we have Malibu Rising by Taylor Jenkins Reid. I liked her 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. Absolutely loved that book. I don't like the font in her books. It's so small and light with my blind eyes. I am still excited about this. This is based, I did see this in 1983, and it's about like a group of kids or siblings that are like partiers, and then something tragic happens. So I'm not entirely sure what the genre is, but I'm excited to find out. So that's all the books that we will be reading. Like I said, I think I'm going to start with Confess because I know that will go the quickest. I will take you guys along with me, and that is what this 9 days are going to comprise of. So I didn't check in over the weekend because I was having a great old time baking, hanging out with my parents and my family. So I didn't really update you, but I did end up finishing my book. So we started with Confess by Colleen Hoover. I read it pretty quickly, started Friday and I finished it this morning. So I don't think I read it all on Saturday, maybe a little bit on Friday as well. So I read this pretty quickly, and I know that I've said a few times that Colleen Hoover's writing for me is like crack and I just consume it. This was one of her earlier books, and it's before like the likes of Reminders of Him, not Confess, what was the other one called? Reminders of Him, and there was another one that I really loved. Layla I loved, didn't really love Verity, but yeah, it was before all of those books that I really loved. And I could tell, like, this is firstly very short, to 308 pages, and I just felt like the story was a little bit underdeveloped. I did enjoy it. It was very wholesome. It felt real, like it felt like it was a possibility that something like this can happen. It's also just felt like a movie. So it basically follows our main female character, Auburn, then she moves to a new town, Texas. So she moves to Texas from Portland, and she is literally down in the dumps. She's working at a basically dead-end job that she doesn't really like. She went to cosmetology school to become a hairdresser, but she doesn't like it. She hates cutting hair. She needed to do something quick and fast. So she's working at a hair salon, not really making much money. She needs a lawyer for, we're not even sure what reason. But then she stumbles upon an art gallery looking for help. So she walks in and meets the artist who is running his own gallery. They kind of hit it off immediately. She ends up working for him for like 2 hours, and she gets paid $200 for the 2 hours. He ends up walking her home. They go to the bar, they hang out together, and it's kind of insta-lovey, but it just clicked. And sometimes you just know. And that's why I don't like when people hate on insta-love, because sometimes it can happen. You can just see someone and just click with them. I feel like that's what this was. But there's obviously a lot more to it, because Colleen Hoover naturally writes a lot of trauma. So there was a lot of trauma in this. It ended up really well, and I don't mean this as a spoiler, and I hope it isn't, but my favorite types of book is when the main female character is the heroine. Like that for me, I'd like strong woman characters. In the beginning she is kind of weak and just goes with the flow, but he gives her strength and she stands up for what she believes in, and it just ends up working out so good. And yeah, that's all I can really say about it without spoiling it too much. I did give this a 3.5 star. I really liked it, but like I said, it was lacking in some respects. Other than that, it was good. I enjoyed it, and I would recommend, actually. I think it's a really good like YA book. It does have a little bit of spice in it. It's all closed door, like, you know, there's spice going on, but it's like the lead up, but not the actual act. So a little bit of spice, probably one chili, but not an awful lot. So I would definitely recommend. The next book we'll be reading is 7 Days in June by Tia Williams. Like I said, I'm not entirely sure about it. I know that either they're both authors or she's an author. It does also have a Reese's book club sticker. So Reese Witherspoon has a book club online, and this was one of her book club picks before. I'm really excited to see what this is about. They have 3 pages in here, which you know is my favorite, and it's quite a tall book, so I don't know. We'll see how the pacing and stuff is with this, and I'll let you know how it goes. It's just over 300 pages as well, so it's easy enough if it's a good story. I'm really excited to see what her writing is about, because I'd love to read some of her backlist then. But yeah, that's all I have to say for now. I will check in with you guys at the halfway point, and then again at the end, obviously, hopefully with not too many spoilers, because I tend to do that. I love spoilers. It sounds really bad, but I hate surprises. I like to know everything that's going on, so I'm sorry about that. So yeah, let's go ahead and read this, and I'll see you guys in a bit. So my camera zooms in so much. I'm gonna struggle with these angles, but I'm gonna try my best. But I don't have an update with you on the 7 days in June just yet. I'm only about 50 pages into the book. I'm not loving it, but I'm not hating it either. Yeah, I'm struggling to get into it. But anyway, I want to reorganize my bookshelf a little bit, because I have these 2 little book weights. I don't know if you'll be able to see that my mom got me, and I really want to put them on my shelf. So I need to do a bit of reorganization. So on top, let me face you up. So up here I used to have like 2 sets of those Perspex drawers for like some makeup stuff. Got rid of them. And up here, I think I'm going to make space for all my books that I need to still not review, but for my wrap up. So books that I've read and can't go back on the shelf, because I'm having to put them on the shelf and then pull everything out and everything falls over. So it's just not practical right now. So I was thinking to do that on top over here. Then I was thinking to change this shelf to just all fantasies, this one mysteries, and then we'll decide on everything else. You won't be able to see very well now, but I have like a perfume tray there, which I've kept. All my lipsticks were down here. So I got rid of that, and I'll utilize visualize that as well. Down at the bottom, which you can't really see, are some of my more like older books. So nothing relevant to now, but books that I have like a little bit of sentimental value with. I'm going to put on a show while I do this, so I will just speed through it, but hopefully this is a bit interesting and will break the video up a little bit. I'm very excited to see what I can create. You probably won't even be able to see these on camera because I probably will put it up there to hold the books up, because yeah, down here I don't have a lot of space on the shelf. It wasn't very practical when I first bought it. I thought I would just put a few books on there and then display some makeup, but it just didn't work out that way. I think the books look much nicer than the makeup does because I don't have a lot of like fancy makeup. My makeup is usually just like affordable makeup, so I'm going to be doing that. So I thought I'd just put it on camera. I thought it might just break it up a little bit. I will put my show back on. I'm watching CSI currently. I'm going through like a heavy like rabbit hole of doing it. Wish I'd taken a before and after. I actually forgot. I'm so bad at this, but I'm still learning, so bear with me. So on the top, I put my little hanging plant back. It's new and I wanted to showcase it. I put these right in the middle, and there's only really one book I finished this month so far anyway. I had a Good Girl's Guide to Murder. Where is she? Oh, here. I have not a Good Girl's Guide to Murder, a Good Girl Bad Blood I had on up there as well, but that was in my last month's wrap up. Only one book so far. I finished two actually, but because I haven't like wrapped it up, I'm not putting it up there. Also, it's a library book, so I probably won't even be able to put it up there. These are all my fantasies and dystopian. I thought I had more, but actually not that much. So Unravel Me is actually dystopian, so it should be on this side, but I don't know, I thought it flowed better like that because these are all dystopian and then these are all like fantasy books. And then I just put this little candle, don't know if you can see it, this little naked candle, and this little face here.
here and a little fairy for fantasy. I wanted to put a plant, but because we have this hanging plant here, I don't think it will look right. Then down here I have my ACOTAR series. This is my favorite shelf. I haven't changed it. I want to get like some candles to put in here, but because of the height of the shelf, I can't really. I have a little fairy there as well. That is one of my favorite shelves, to be honest with you. I've only read these 2 books. I need to get into these. The shelf is another one of my favorites. I do not have that many hardcovers, but I wanted to keep it separate because I like the way that kind of looks. These 2 don't even have their jackets on. They're just naked. Then just my Polaroid camera and another plant that I got just to bring in some greenery. However, when I sit at my desk, you can't actually see that in videos. Sorry for being super close. Over here, I have all my mystery / thrillers. I don't think I have enough space. I read mysteries and thrillers so much. So this is basically the same amount, actually a little bit less than my fantasies, because those are like my 2 favorite genres. So I've put these here, but because the shelf is so small, I can't fit loads of decorations on. Just put a little candle there. And then on this shelf down here, like I said, my perfumes are all there. But this is all like, I wouldn't say miscellaneous, but it's like romance books. I put Britney Spears here because I don't have like a non-fiction section. It's the only non-fiction I have on here at the moment. And then I have Magnolia Parks, Daisy Hates. That's the only 2 books I have of this series. And It Ends With Us and Starts With Us as well, because I don't know where to put that. So like I said, at the bottom over here, which I'll just pull out because that's quite a mess, I have these 3 books. So this was my favorite childhood book that my fiance sought out for me. I literally had been looking for it for years. I read it when I was like 12, I think, and I really loved it, so he found it for me again. And then I have The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, which is one of my favorites as well. And then this was another favorite book of mine. I read it back in like 2018, I want to say. Absolutely loved it. I've tried to find more books by Elizabeth Flock. I've read Me and Emma, which is on the cover already, and those are the only 2 books I read from her, and I really, really love it. It covers a lot of like traumatic subjects, but it's so good. So I don't really want to show you the shelf, but you can't really see. So I have like Tales of Magic, which is all like Disney stories. That's this one over here, and then those 3 books we just spoke about, and then I have 100 depictions of dreams. This is just a box with like some creative stuff, and then some of my makeup stuff, some papers, some wedding planning stuff, and then I keep all my markers here. So that is it. My bookshelves are ever changing. Honestly, I change them so regularly just because I don't have that many books on here. Yeah, I just change it depending on how many books I have. I think I'm going to run out of space though, to be honest with you, because like I said, it wasn't very practical buying the shelf, but I had like a completely different vision in my mind for like a backdrop, but I should have just bought like a 6-shelf bookshelf, but I didn't think about that then. I just like the way this looks, and it matches it's the exact same as my desk, the black and the wood. So I just bought it because I thought they matched, but yeah. Good morning, friends. So it is quite early in the morning for me. I've been reading for an hour already. I wasn't going to do a check-in, but I just got a call from, not a call, what am I saying? I got an email from my library. My books are due back in 3 days, which I don't know how I forgot. I knew I had it on hold for 10 days, but for some reason I didn't realize that it was 3 days away. I am currently on page 188 of 7 Days in June. It's taken me a while to get through, and I've made some notes as I went along, just like thoughts that I had, because I didn't want to check in like every 5 minutes every time I had a line of thought, shall I say. I don't dislike it, put it that way. I don't dislike it, but I picked up on a few things that I wanted to discuss. So firstly, there's a lot of references made to things I think that only Americans would know, like different names and places and like universities and things like that. Like we know the general scheme of things, certain huge universities, but the rest of it I'm not entirely sure what she means. And like she talks about a lot of forefathers and stuff like I know nothing about like full American history, so it was very difficult to read that because I don't know what she's talking about, nor do I care. And I felt like the references were unnecessary. Like she's talking about her kid's school and how someone is related to someone in some profession. We don't know them, nor do I care. And they name drop the school that her daughter goes to all the time. No one cares, just say school. Like even while they're having an internal monologue, they say the school's name, and that's not normal. I like felt a little bit like forced. The other thing I said as well that I wrote down is that the book is trying to be so significant. So racism is a huge part of it, and like black empowerment, which is great, power to the people. I'm brown as well, but it's just making it
such a radical statement that it's like it seems a bit unnecessary. Like, everybody with brown skin has experienced some sort of racism, but their thoughts, well, the thoughts in the book, in my opinion, are quite radical. And I don't know, I don't particularly like it. It just feels factual instead of like painting a story. I don't know, and it just tried to be so profound in saying things like that it was like a little bit unnecessary. And I get that as a Black author, you kind of have to fill a couple of boxes before you're taken as seriously as a Caucasian white author. So I get that, but it was just, they're making a big deal out of it, and I didn't realize that that would form such a big part of what the book is about. Then she has a 12-year-old daughter, and there's been one chapter where we got this might be a spoiler, I'm not sure, but we got a full chapter of her. It's like 4 pages. The way her inner monologue has been written and the thoughts that she has, it's written like an 18-year-old coming of age and trying to figure out her life choices. Like, what 12-year-old is thinking about stuff like that, like what career they want to take? It makes no sense to me, because when I was 12, I was playing outside with my friends, and I didn't think further than, you know, the next time I'd get to hang out with my friends. I wouldn't be thinking about the future that far forward. Maybe it's just me, but the way she was writing, and like, I don't know if I can find it for you. There was a bit that I did want to talk about. So she's had like a huge fight with her mom, and she's been suspended from school. Like, here again, like, she's in her inner monologue and she's mentioning her school's name. She says she was stifled at Cheshire Prep, and maybe that was the difference between Eva and Audrey. Eva accepted being stifled, but Audrey wanted to taste life, feel it, do stuff, go places, be an adventurous woman like Auntie Cece or Grandma Lizette. Like, what 12-year-old is thinking like that? That seems like an 18-year-old finishing school and wanting to choose a life path. Like, she's 12 years old. 12 years old. Why is she thinking or saying these things? And I think that wasn't written correctly. She should have been maybe even 16, but a 12-year-old? Like, what life experiences has she even had? And she's very spoiled. It makes no sense to me. Then this has been a long check-in. I'm so sorry. Then the last thing I wrote down is that I feel like it's very chaotic the way the book is written, and which is why I'm struggling to grasp the writing style. It feels like she tried to put so much into each chapter. The chapters are long as well, so much into each chapter that it doesn't flow that well. It feels a bit disjointed. So when Shane and Eva have a chapter together, there's no separation of whose thoughts are whose. So it will be like her inner monologue, his inner monologue, dialogue, his inner monologue, her inner dialogue. So I'm like, wait, what? Like, why is he thinking when it's her chapter? Because he does have chapters and she does have chapters, but then the chapters together, it's just confusing and a bit chaotic. So it's also a very, very slow paced book, and that is throwing me off. Finished it. I literally powered through like 4 hours and finished the rest of the book. And I think I'm still going to give this, well, I said previously that I was going to give it a 2-star, but I'm going to give it 2.5 stars. I didn't enjoy this book. I just wanted to power through because I didn't want to DNF another book, and I probably should have, because this took a lot of brain power and a lot of frustration, and I would be lying if I'd said I didn't skim most of this book. I skimmed majority of it. It just wasn't to my taste. I didn't really like the writing style or the pacing, the fact that there was too much description. There were things that were irrelevant to the story that we didn't even really need. That's all I'm going to say. I don't have much more to say. Like I said, I didn't enjoy the pacing. I thought it was over-explained and a little bit overwritten. A lot of the references I didn't understand. Finished. Would I recommend this book? No, it was pretty boring. I wouldn't recommend it at all, in my opinion. But also, like I said, I don't read a lot of romance, so I don't think I like more darker romance, or I don't know. That just
it's a second chance romance, but it just didn't sit well with my reading taste personally. Now we have 2.5 days to read Malibu Rising. Like I said, her writing is so small, so I don't know how I am going to get through this very quickly, but hopefully I do. I don't know what I said in my intro, but it's kind of about a girl named Nina, and apparently everybody wants to be her friend because her dad is a famous singer. So she hosts these crazy parties every year at her Malibu house. Something happens and apparently they set a fire to the house or something. I just rambled, but I'm gonna get going on this. I'm probably just gonna try and read about 50 pages now, and then I need to do some other stuff, and then I'll let you know tomorrow how far I am and what I thought of the book. Hello everyone, so it's either going to be super crinkly because of my jacket, or it's going to be super quiet because of the placement of my mic. I'm going to try and tweak it if I can with audio settings when I edit this. I am on page 142. There's no chapters, it just looks like that, so not quite halfway in. I feel bad when I say this, I'm so bored. So it is kind of what I explained it was about, but there's more to it. So it's not just a party that these famous Nepo babies are throwing. It's actually quite deep. So it's a lot of like about their siblings, and then also about generational trauma and what they went through growing up, what their parents went through. I understand why someone could like this book, and I think if I wasn't on a time constraint, I definitely would have enjoyed this a little bit more if I had time to absorb what was going on a little bit more and think about and sit on it. But I have to take the book back tomorrow, so I'll see how far I get, and then either we'll soft DNF and take it out the library again another day, or I'll just completely DNF it because I have no motivation to pick this up. I'm very, very bored. That's the problem I have with like library books as well, because I don't really know what they're about before I take them out. I haven't really watched anything on them or anything. That's my opinion right now. I don't mind Taylor Jenkins Reid's writing. Like, I find it quite easy to understand and quite easy to follow. It's not like majorly embellished or overwritten in any way. I really like her writing. It's easy to absorb, if that is even a word to describe it, but it's very easy, and I get through it fairly quickly, but the story is very boring. Hello everyone. Long time no speak. I don't have much battery on my camera right now. I really need to charge it because I just filmed a makeup look. I finished Malibu Rising. I wasn't impressed. Like, I think this is one of her earlier books. I think I read that it was released in 2020, if I'm not mistaken. 2021, I lie. 2021. But it felt like her writing hadn't developed as much as it did when she wrote Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. I just felt like the writing was a little bit better in there. The storytelling was a bit better. This felt like a chaotic indie film. Like, have you watched those films where say someone's at a party and they're walking through a scene and there's flashes of things happening around them? That's how I felt this book was written. It was just flashes of everybody, and nothing was consistent in the story but their parents, like their backstory. But once that story was told, it was Nina, then it was this one, then it was that one, then it was that one, and like the story just didn't flow. It felt very fragmented and very chaotic. Personally, I didn't enjoy it that much, so I gave this a 2-star. Unfortunately, I just didn't enjoy it. Would I recommend? Absolutely not. I was bored to tears, and I was fighting to get to the end because I thought maybe there'd be like a little plot twist, or something would happen, but nothing happened. It was just going through the motions of this family's life, and basically starting at the beginning when their parents, June, and I don't know what June's maiden surname was. It was like almost like a Mexican surname. I can't remember. It was like Santiago or something like that. But it was June and Mick, who met when they were younger and started dating and then got married. It's just their whole family dynamic, generational trauma, what the kids went through. I don't know. It wasn't told in the best possible way, in my opinion. That is the end of this week's reading, but just to remind you, although you probably don't need reminding, we read Confess by Colleen Hoover. I gave this a 3.5 star. Really enjoyed it. It was very fast paced. The story was relatable, and I loved it, and I would recommend. It is a good book from her. It is her earlier writing, so a lot has changed and a lot is different, but it was still intriguing enough to keep me engaged. Then we read 7 Days in June, which I gave a 2.5 star. I did kind of understand the story, or what she wanted the story to represent, and I don't
don't think it was portrayed fully. So I think I gave this 2.5, didn't I? I think so. It was just a little too much. I feel like she was trying to be profound. I think that she was trying to add in a couple extra tropes and trauma, and it just, some of it just didn't make sense. Like I assumed, shall I say, or I was under the impression that it was a love story, but it wasn't actually. It was just her basically trying to discover herself as a woman, but having a man there who brings something different out and new kind of led her in different directions. But it was literally drawn out too much. There were, again, too many irrelevant plot points that I don't feel needed to be in there. Like I said, just trying to be so profound, because I know racism is a huge thing in any industry, even mine that I used to work in. Like, it's very rife, but it was just trying a bit too hard. I am a person of color as well, so I should have been able to relate to this more, but I just felt like, why are you doing that? Like, rolling my eyes. Like, some of it came across as just a bit too aggressive. So 2.5. But that is it. Really glad I got to read my library books, but I think I'm going to take a break from the library, because I was under the impression that you got like a month on your books, but actually it's only 2 weeks. So I need to plan correctly next time I get them. I definitely will get some Halloween books, which I'm excited about. But yeah, that's it from me, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you all next week. Please let me know down in the comments if there's anything you would like me to read, or like me to do, or like me to review, and I definitely will jump on that. But until next time, I'll see you all then. Bye, guys.